Hey, everybody, welcome back to Hungry for More. We are entering episode number 23. We get excited every time we realize it just rolls on. And here we are talking again about mindset and nutrition and how it's so important for us to address the way we think in order to be successful with our weight loss for the long run. And here's one of the important mindsets that we need to be watching out for. And that is, I don't have time to focus on my health, right? I don't have time to lose weight. I don't have time, fill in the blank. Whatever we think it takes to do that, we have this idea that it's very time consuming. And I get it. I have done the methods that truly are, that I have to dedicate an hour at least a day to doing what I need to do, or I have to make sure that I'm really on point, having the right things stocked in my home. And that can be time consuming. But one of the things that we need to switch up here is that we do believe that eating healthy and managing our weight is time consuming. And so what we do when we believe that, we keep waiting for the right time. We keep waiting for life to slow down. Oh, once this event is over, once my kids get to this certain milestone, once my routine switches in the fall, we keep delaying it, right? But our routines and the things going on in our lives are not what's preventing us from doing that. It's the belief and the mindset that managing your weight is time consuming.
Yeah. And the thing is, I lived a life of when this is over, when this is done, when my kids done with school, when this, and I think something we have to realize right now is there's no guarantee for tomorrow, first of all, and what it's going to bring.
Yeah, sure.
Because I have 6 children. I had 6 children in 9 years. And when they were little and at home and I was running to sports and I was putting all their needs in front of mine, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying we're going to ignore our children and we know they have needs. We're going to care for them. But I would always say, oh man, when this is over, I'm going to do this. When this is over, I'm going to do this. And I was telling Robin, I am busier now than I was when all those children are at home. I haven't figured out what I'm busy with really, but I'm just so much busier. I don't understand it. And so there's always something, right? There's always going to be that vacation. There's always going to be that holiday party, that wedding, there's always going to be something. So if you put it off until there's time to focus on yourself, it never comes. It never comes.
Right. Well, and thank goodness with mindset, we can step away and recognize, you know what? I don't need my life to be a certain way in order to make this a priority. Because again, the belief we need to correct is that eating healthy or that managing your weight and even losing weight is time consuming. That's the mindset that is to change. If we believed that it was simple, and it was the simple part of our day, and all that it required was our attention to it. And didn't need any extra prepping, didn't need anything extra. If we believed that it was not time consuming, then would we be willing to jump in and do it, no matter what's going on in our lives? So we get it. I know a lot of times when you're gearing up and getting ready, I think you made this point. When we know, okay, I am going to jump in, I am going to get on my plan, I'm going to take this seriously. Just all the gearing up and prepping for it can feel so that we're like, I have to wait until I can gear up for it.
Right. And I mean, we could take a million different podcasts from this one, but it's like, I've got to make my meal plan. I've got to do my shopping. I don't have time, and I don't want to waste money because look at all this food that I bought last week. Yeah. I know maybe it's not the best food, but I don't want to waste money. So I've got to eat all of that. You know what I mean? Like, totally. It's just one thing after the next, but specifically today we're talking about time. So Robin, the question is, we're telling them that it doesn't take a lot of time. So we better explain ourselves, because there were a time when we thought it took a lot of time. I remember when I was trying to get fit and I had little kids. Oh my gosh, I joined Lifetime Fitness Gym in Arizona. It was amazing, like top of
It
the
is
line
amazing.
gym. I would
Mhm,
take my kids to the daycare, which was like their fun world. They didn't want to leave.
mhm.
And I'm not kidding you. I would get on a machine and I'd get paged. Jennifer Winder, could you please come to the childcare? Because they
Mhm.
don't change your kids' diapers. So I would change a diaper.
Right.
Then I'd go get on the machine and I get paged. Jennifer Winder, can you come? By the time I left the gym, it was like 3 hours later. I'm not kidding you. It was one after the next that I finally just quit. I'm like, I don't have time to work out. I can't work out.
Right. Yes. So when we need to get to this basic mindset and use it on the practice with food first, so that then we can expand from there and be like, okay, now exercise, let me figure this out. I need to make this a part of my life, a priority. But let's first back up from that and just listen. Here's the thing is, when people come to me and say, I have to wait till this passes first, I have to wait till this changes in my routine first, and I always ask, okay, but are you eating when this is going on? Are you also
You
pausing
still have to
eating?
eat.
You're still eating, right? And so if you have time to eat, then you have time to manage your weight. So like you asked, how then? Because we're used to feeling like it's a big production in order to lose the weight. And we keep coming back to the same things. Nothing we say now is going to be mind blowing, but that's good news. It's not 5 million strategies we're trying to put together in order to be successful at this, you guys. So first, you need to remember, no matter what's happening in my life, I'm sure to eat. I eat every day because it's what human beings need to do to stay alive. If I have time to eat, I have time to manage my weight. Does that not sound different than it's so time consuming to eat healthy? Okay, so if I have time to eat, I have time to manage my weight, including weight loss. It's because when we are looking and we're less hyper focused on the food itself, and we're just getting to listening to the cues of the body, you're going to siphon out and get rid of all the excessive eating that you do. When you're just like, okay, body, I have a really busy day today, so I'm going to be doing all these things. You let me know when you need to eat, and when you tell me, I'll eat. Otherwise, I don't have to think about food the whole rest of the time. It's actually easier when you're really busy to lose weight because
It's true.
you're not sitting around like, well, I'm bored. What do I do now? Right?
All of a sudden it's 3 and you're like, okay, my body's finally hungry. I can't
Yeah,
believe I've made it till 3 and I haven't eaten.
right. And I haven't really even been bothered about it. Now my body's like, hey, please give me some fuel. So that's the first piece. Now, some of you are going to say, yeah, but I don't have healthy choices at my house, or I'm at work and I don't have time to pack a lunch, so I have to go out to eat. No problem. First of all, you're going to eat when you're hungry. Okay. And all the other times that food is coming at you and you're not hungry, time saving technique. Nope. I don't need it. I don't want it. Save time. I don't have to stop and eat and whatever. Now, when it is time to eat, and say you don't have the ideal foods that you would normally expect of yourself or prefer, whether it is that you're going out to eat or whatever, that's when you still stay within the bounds of the cues of the body that says, okay, first of all, I'm going to make the best choices with what I have here. So many times when we're like, say you go out to eat for, you're at work, you didn't pack your lunch, you didn't pack your special meal. So many times we just say, well, I didn't get to pack my special meal, so now I'm going to have to go out to eat. Any sort of wisdom about choosing something that still is really good for you goes out the window, and you're like, well, I guess I'm stuck with burger and fries. It's like, there are so many options for you that can really align with how you're wanting to eat. Okay, but say it's still burger and fries. Let's even go there. Then you rely on the cue of the body. You stay in tune with yourself. And when your body says, that was good, I'm done, you stop.
You're done.
You're done. When we live like this, you guys, we are not 50 pounds overweight because we're staying within our cues, but we're just eating the wrong foods. No, it's because we're eating for mind hunger as well. Okay, it's not so much about the food I'm eating is not perfection. It's let's just stay within those cues and you will see your body adjusting, your weight adjusting.
Right. And it's funny because, yeah, as I coach clients, that's a comment I hear. I'll hear, was doing really good this weekend, but then we were out and we were shopping too long. And so I went and I got a burger and a fries.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm not dissing on burger and fries, but that's not the reason, right? Like
Right.
different choices could have been made. And so it's really interesting though, if we think that we have to be this pre-prepared or have everything set up, then it kind of goes with the last podcast we did, right? Where
Right.
we want to use our wisdom in the choices that we're making. We can eat anywhere and still make better choices than maybe what's available.
Right. Yeah. So we tend to be in that rules, right? Well, if it's not the ideal, if it's not the thing that was on my plan, then everything just goes and wisdom goes out with it. So,
Right.
also, I have another belief I have that goes along with this that has served me really well is I believe that I can find great food no matter where I go. Okay. Sometimes I go somewhere, like say I'm invited to a party and all that's available is, say it's pizza and that's it. Okay, well, I stay within my cues. That's the option. That's what I've got to work with. Sometimes I go and there's other options and I can put things together and I can prioritize vegetables and I still choose the pizza or whatever, but I'm looking for the best things that are available for me to support me.
Right.
Rather
You're
than
not
being
using it as a reason to just, well, I'm here and this is all that's here, so I'm going to eat whatever.
yeah,
You
these
throw
aren't
all the cues
approved.
out the window.
Right.
Correct.
These aren't the approved things. They don't follow the regimen I'm on. So I'm just going to dive in. No, I can always take care of myself no matter where I go and make the choices that serve me the highest. And you will see that belief will have you looking for those things and prioritizing your plate in that way. And yes, it might still mean you're still eating something that may not be what you normally eat, but you have still taken care of to prioritize and give yourself the best healthy option there is while staying within those cues. And you don't even have to call it, I went off plan. No, when I'm in this place, this is how I take care of myself.
Right.
Or, living from
And it
wisdom.
takes no time. And it takes no time at all.
It takes your attention to it. So also the way it takes no time is when you're just bopping along your day and something comes to you and is offered to you and you do the conscious practice that we teach where you just pause and check in. And when the answer is no, it's just like, oh, all I needed to do was put attention to my body, come to the present moment. Am I hungry? Is this something I even want? When the answer is, we just say no and we move along. So yeah, I had one other thought that just popped out of my head. It'll come back. Oh, it came back. Usually doesn't happen that fast. Okay. So I was coaching someone during COVID. And when she first called me, she's like, I'm not sure if this is the good time to do it because I'm so limited with how much I go to the grocery store and having fresh foods in the house. She's like, I'm not sure if I should wait till this passes or if it's wise to get started now. And again, I told her, well, do you plan to eat until, everything goes back to normal? Is eating going to be happening for you? She's like, well, yeah. And so we talked about that, how even when in those situations where there was a time we didn't know when this would end, when we would kind of get back to normal, that's tempting to just delay and say, well, once this passes. But what we were able to do the work of is, she said, sometimes what's available are chicken nuggets and tater tots. And I'm like, awesome. We can totally work with that. We can still use our brains, be conscious, and cut out all the mind hunger eating that we do and still stay within. And so we started that work during COVID, during a time when she was limited on what was available. She would run out of her fresh fruits and vegetables and go 4 or 5 days before she could replenish, and was still able to lose and move on during that time.
So what's so interesting about what you're saying, all of this stuff, that the time and making do with what we have it's so mindset. And I hope people are picking up on, we're not really trying to pick out certain foods. and say, eat this, don't eat this.
Right.
When we are working with clients, we're not nitpicking what you're eating at all. It's all about the mindset of when, that it doesn't take time. And are you stopping when you're full? And then later on, we can move on to simple nutrition. But if the mindset isn't in place, it does not matter if you are on a plan, doing your own thing, doing a shot, having a surgery, any of that stuff. The second that it all wears off and you aren't doing it anymore, all of the weight comes back on if this mindset hasn't been done. So all these little topics, like I don't have time, these are things that have come up with our clients. And that's why we are trying to touch on them, because mindset is probably one of the most crucial points to weight management, because we all know you can lose weight a million different ways. Some with exercise, some without, but the second that your mind takes over and you fall back into the old patterns is the time that things change. And I have to tell everybody, I eat the way I eat, and I eat conscious, and I tell people it's my lifestyle. This is just how I eat. And 5 years into that, thinking I would never, ever be any different, I started putting on some weight again. And it was all mindset. And so it's very interesting that it's something you always need to, it doesn't take time except to ask yourself a question and be like, yes, I'm hungry and I will eat. No, I'm not hungry and I won't eat. And without even talking about what the food is.
Right. So this little sneaky thought has wreaked havoc for us to believe that it's time consuming and you need a special amount of time, or your circumstances need to be settled in a certain way in order for you to take care of your weight. Do the switch. And the thought that I like to replace it with is, if I have time to eat, I have time to manage my weight, because all that is required of me, truly, you guys, do I like to have my food, my house stocked with healthy foods and easy things to grab? Of course. But when I believe that it takes time, that unless I have that, then I'm in trouble, then I won't pay attention. So switching that over to, if I have time to eat, I have time to manage my weight, because what I need is my attention to my body and to my cues, and to respond to them appropriately. And then when I am hungry and it is time to eat, whether I was prepared with the foods I prefer or if I'm not, no problem. I know how to make the best choices with what I have available, and I'll listen to the cue that tells me when to stop. I promise you guys, this will regulate your weight. This will keep you sustainably going.
Yeah, it's awesome. And it, again, like I say with everything else, is empowering, because you realize that you are not held captive to time.
Yes.
You're not. There will always be something. I promise you, there will always be something. And when there isn't something, appreciate the moment.
Right, exactly.
What it is, because it'll fill in eventually.
Yeah. And even as a little bonus, as a little extra credit, notice on your busy days how much easier it is, and be like, it's easier when I'm busy.
It's easier when you're busy. And part of me thinks that's what's a little bit different now, is I don't have the schedule of got to be here, 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 and here. But the thing is that notice it, and then you still don't have to, it's just interesting. I think on the busy days, it's interesting to really realize how little fuel you actually have to put in your body.
Yes. Yeah. How many people, when we start coaching, are like, okay, I had this really busy day and I only ate, the couple times, and was like, oh, that's really all I needed.
Yeah.
Right. So, okay. Let's change up that mindset and make your life easier. Get started right now. There's nothing to gear up for. It's a change right here. We gave you the mindset to take from here and go. Let us know how it works for you.
All right. Thank you. And we will see everybody next week.
That's right.